Hello friends, welcome to Exampur. I hope my voice is audible, screen is visible, everything is set. If this is so, please do let me know so that I can continue with the lecture. So guys, this is all about the Exampur app. You can access this app. You just have to go through 6 steps in which you need to get registered so that you can just get the access of the app that is for free. You can explore the app and get the benefits that are available for free at least. And if you just want to go by the batches available on the paid courses, you need to get the access of like a sequential and the systematic courses and the Zoom meeting if you have any query directly with the faculty members. Different kind of preview you'll get to see in the Exampur app. So at least whatever benefits you are getting for free, you can take the access out of which for the time being you need to get registered on the Exampur app. So do not forget to take the advantages out of the platform which is at least available for free, and definitely you are going to grab the differences between the YouTube lectures and the applications one. So today we are going to just discuss about the daily news analysis part, and I am just going to revise the portion whatever we have done so far in last 5 to 10 days. And basically I am just talking about the weekly session and what all things we have taken into the consideration for the week. So before getting started for the session, you need to revise the session. Like we have studied about the cotton procurements. Cotton procurements, as you are well aware about the fact that before going through any topic, you need to understand the grip of that topic. Cotton, this is one of the prominent sector in our country. And when we do talk about any like cropping pattern and any segment which is so important, why is that sector is so important? Before referring to the term important, we need to check upon the word why is this so. So employment generation is on huge basis. If we do talk about employment generation is on huge basis, which is major concern of our economy this time. Number 2, we can get concerned the production level is on peak in case of textile industry. If we are talking about the global scenario. So this is on the decentralization performer. If we are playing so good at the global scenario, it has to make the presence on the global one. Means we are making export provisions. Provisions provides the basis for major export portion. For major export. Okay, so these are, if it is playing a very significant role in export, then it has to become a prominent part of our national income. So these all are the characteristics why we always refer to cotton industry as on the peak level. Getting my point? Why this sector is so prominent and important? You need to know about the particular strata it is making the contribution in employment generation. Second is all about it is having a good level of presence in the global scenario. Why is it so? It is providing the export to a larger segment and it is giving major contribution in the net export. If it is providing major presence in the export criteria, definitely it is making good level of contribution in the national income or the GDP you can talk about. So this is the major point we do talk about over here. And cotton industry, why this is a news? You need to know, you need to keep a note of major crops which is there in India. So you need to put a grip on it. What is the major context due to which reason we are currently talking about this? Drop in the production of cotton, you subsequently you get to see the slowdown in the production level of the textile, which is somewhere hampering, which is somewhere impacting the national income or the contribution for the export point of view as well. Next is all about what is the major reason. You can just talk about what are the major reason you can just talk about. One of the largest cotton producing country, we comes in that position, means we are somewhere cotton prices globally have been on the surge after US. Getting my point? If the production is getting depleted, obviously if production is getting depleted, matlab supply side is going down. If supply side is going down, prices has to catch up on the pace. Obviously, it is just after the US if you do talk about the Indian basis. Next is all about paced and heavy rain, which is making impact on the production in major states such as Maharashtra and Karnataka. If you do talk about the cotton productivity, this is somewhere half of the productivity which comes at the global scenario. If we are taking out the average of global scenario, it is somewhere around 900 kg per hectare you are talking about. And if you are looking at the condition of India, it is somewhere 450 around. So you are just looking at the productivity. No doubt we are on peak level. If we are making comparison on behalf of production, means what unit, how much production we are making out of the segment. But in case we when we have to deal with the productivity basis, we are lower in that side as we are not that uplifted. So next is all about 80% cropping pattern in each of the 9 cotton growing states is BT cotton. BT is all about the modified crop. We do have access. In case of BT cotton, we have legal presence in our country about the BT cotton. This is which type of crop you should be aware of. Geographical preview. You can just have a look at it. And climatic changes, what kind of climatic changes and the temperature you would require in case of this cropping pattern, 21 to 30 degree. And rainfall, if you do talk about 50 to 100 centimeters, and kharif crop it is. And what all states are making major contribution in it, that is rainfall. 50 to 100, and what major states are there? Gujarat is on number 1. Number 2, Maharashtra. Number 3, Telangana, and Andhra and Rajasthan. India's position, it is occupying the position in terms of production, that is on number 2. But in case of productivity, we are lying so low in it. Okay, I've already mentioned if we are taking out the average of the global pattern, we are just half of it. So in terms of production, we can just make the comparison that we are on number 2 in case of production. This is only the reason we are just exporting on huge basis. So guys, species of cotton, if you do talk about, all 4 are grown in India. And what kind of soil you would require if you have to make the cultivation of the cotton? Then you would be required black soil in that perspective. So what are the key pointers for cotton? Why this is so important? You need to know about the background of economical characters, of economical basis. You need to know about it if you have been asked regarding the question. Since this topic is also affiliated or associated with the geographical preview, you need to know which kind of crop it is. This is the kharif pattern. And then you need to look at the temperature basis and what kind of crop is required. You need to, what kind of soil is required for this basis. Then impact, like as if we are making a talk on this topic, you need to know what is the basis why we are talking about the segment. Obviously, cropping pattern will always be in a talk, but you need to know about the context. What is the context right now? It is getting, it is in destructible position right now if we do talk about the cotton. But you need to make a point that Maharashtra and Karnataka is the who is facing literally destructible position. No doubt you need to know about the sequence of the cropping in case of production. Sequence of production you need to know. Number 1 position is all about Maharashtra. Number two, number one position Gujarat, then Maharashtra, Telangana. You need to know about it. These kind of key pointers you should be aware of, so that you need not to do the things as all. So, Rathol coal mining. I'm not going to just prescribe this topic for long, the way I have taken the cotton, but you need to know whenever you are known about the term, whenever you heard about the term rat hole mining, then you have to just link with the Meghalaya. It comes in news on rat hole mining. On the basis we are making so much of illegal mining. We are making ourselves allowed for the mining just to extract the resources we require for the economy. But somewhere you need to make a glance that whatever resources we are just taking out in order to create the good level of production, in order to make contribution in the Indian economy, you need to make your mind sure about it, that whatever resources you are using in the country, at least use it thoroughly. Use it effectively. This should be your major criteria. What we are doing right now, that 10% of potential as per the Niti Aayog at the rate 75, in those lectures I might have told you about the capacity we are using the resources in, that 10% of the mining we are using. Even if we are getting the clearance, even if we are just getting the resources illegally, in whatever means you are making the clearance and getting the approval, you need to make your mind sure that whatever resources we do have, at least to use it effectively, so that we will not degrade the environment position. We are already known about the fact. And Meghalaya, you should not forget about it. And the area of West Khasi Hills district you might have heard about. So Shalang at the Khasi Hills. Next is all about what this is all about. That the technique digging the narrow tunnel. I'm going to just let you know about the tunnel into the earth to extract the coal. This kind of condition, this is digging the hole and just to extract the coal in this way. Vertically we have to dig the hole so that we can extract the coal out of it. Okay. Next is all about the NCERT mantra batch. You can take the full advantage out of the batch. And next news all about we have studied so far. That is all about 1 lakh village declared ODF. ODFs comes under which mission you need to know about. Okay, open defecation we are talking about, and what kind of certification has to be given on that basis. You need to know about it. So ODF programs comes under the Swachh Bharat program. Difference between different type of ODF certificates. I am going to let you know about what kind of programming we are just talking about. As per the government, over the 1 lakh villages have been declared themselves ODF plus. 1 lakh villages we are talking about, not the people. And status have to be given on the basis of certification. We are just talking on perspective, not only on the open defecation in the toilets making, but also to manage out the solid and liquid wastage, how to manage these kind of things. So in order to just grab this, we are just making the specification. Obviously ODF, ODF plus, these kind of certification has to be given. And phase 2, why we are just talking about this point over this year, we are running under the phase 2 and it is going to run till 2025. And our most important target is to avail the facilities to the villages of the level of ODF plus status. Okay, it is coming under the ministry of which you need to know about the Ministry of Drinking Water and the Sanitation. So what is the most favorable? Like if you are making check and balances on any scheme, check and balance, like if you would be given a test, that if you are prepared for a subject, if you have prepared for the entire current affairs, monthly current affairs, but what kind of effectiveness you do possess at this time, you will get to know about the test only. In the same way, OTF programming, in whatever way these things are running into the picture, you will get to know about the status only when you are going to give the proper assessment about the things. Okay, about the assessment, then only, and these are the level on the basis of which certification has to catch up on the grip. So ODF, ODF plus, and water plus. ODF is all about open defecation. We have to just avail the facility on that basis. And well-maintained community public toilet in case of plus. We have to just not only manage the toilets but also the liquid and solid waste. Water is about waste. Water is being treated as CB. So next about the Urdami Projects. This is all about to make the people more and more skilled so that employment generation could be created. So go through it once. You need to know about Gramin Urdami Project. This is very important. Why this is so? Because why we are just talking on basis of this. Because in Ranchi, to promote the skill development entrepreneurs, specifically we are dedicating this, or we are making this amongst the tribal youth, so that they can grab the skill programming, they can get a scope to work. And we are providing the multi-skilling project so that they would get the scope in working platform, that they know about various skills. On those available skills, they can perform better. So implementation in 6 states we do talk about, and Sansadiya Parishankulan Yojana, and these are the 6 states we are just going to talk about. Currently it is under picture because in Ranchi, Jharkhand has given the scope to the tribal youth regarding the program, just to avail them different kind of skill so that they can work somewhere and get the employment. Next is all about benefit. What kind of benefits you do acquire in case of skill training. Skill, if you are getting the benefits of Gramin Urdami project, it is all about skill. You are augmenting the skill training in the tribal youth, making the inclusive. Like the more you are getting skill, the more you are grabbing the skills, you will get a platform to work. More and more people are making participation in the work, the more employment would be generated. Basis is becoming sustainable in nature. Okay. Next is all about impart functional skill to them for enabling livelihood. It is making them to work on some platform. If they have been given training for the multitasking things, they would be learning the different kind of tactics and skills. On that basis, they are gaining on the skills. They are gaining the various parameters to work upon. So, they are establishing the base of their livelihood on that basis. So, it is increasing the rural and local economy. Obviously, if we are giving the income, or if we are availing the various benefits to these people, that is for free, but they are not making any contribution in the economy, it would be like people is sitting idle and we are continuously making them feed. This is not the effective. This is going to be the shortcut to just come out of the situation. But if we have to make the process sustainable, we have to just make them learn about the things so that they can work and make the contribution in economy. It is not only advantageous for them only, but also for the economy. On both the sides, we are getting positives in our hand. Enhancing the employment opportunity out of this segment, and migration due to lack of local opportunity. Reducing, like if we are giving a kind of platform on the level where they really exist at this point of time, we are availing the work over there, they would not require to migrate on other place. Okay, so this is what we are talking about. They are not required to migrate to other places just because they are availing the facility over there. So, lack of local opportunity, they will not get to see if they are getting the provisions of a skill project. Conservation of natural resources, if we do talk about conservation, if we are using the resources thoroughly, what I am talking about, if we are just making them feed idly, if you are sitting and I'm continuously giving you food without making your contribution in the economy, this is like unemployed resources we can consider upon. But the basic fundamental of the economy is to make a balance, that if you are taking the food, you have to make contribution in the economy as well. Otherwise, you would be considered as burden for the economy, that you are not making contribution but acquiring the resources of economy. So if we are going towards the process of utilizing the resources thoroughly, it is also making the response towards the environmental point of view. Okay. So account aggregator, what kind of things we are talking about in case of account aggregator? Account aggregator frame network already accounts which are available with RBI. Like what kind of situation is there in case of investor whosoever is making in SEBI? Whosoever is making in SEBI, we are talking about aggregators over here is, what do you mean by aggregator? It is the collection of RBI data which is available in the mechanism. You have to make the layout out of it and the system. Why this news is there in a platform, you need to know about it, that you have to just go by it, consolidated the dashboard which is available with RBI, and it is requested by the SEBI that they would require the information which is available with RBI just to know their status and just to know their credibility, just to know about the financial accounts of the investor whosoever is getting indulged in the investment proceedings with the SEBI. Getting my point? What I just want to say over here is, like, what is the mechanism currently just in news, that account aggregator. First, you need to know about the meaning. Account aggregator, by the meaning, you can just get a grip on this word, that this is the collection of information which is there with RBI. Okay. Next. And what SEBI wants the access of it to make a check and balance. Or to know about the credibility of investors. Okay, so this is about, it is means wants to have the access, sharing of information to prevent the defaults in the investor side. Okay, so this kind of mechanism is being used. Framework will allow the customers to share the information about their mutual funds and the stock holding with the financial service provider. Who is the financial service provider? These like investment, in case of investment, who is providing the services? SEBI mechanism. And who is providing the services on behalf of financial or the banking affairs? That is RBI. In order to know about the credibility of the credit status and the balance sheet, they just want to know the status of customers and want to take the access of information so that they can check upon the criteria. So if they are checking upon the criteria, it is the part of RBI. This is the point to be noted, and it could be asked in case of prelims and mains how you can just make the presence of these kind of questions. This account aggregator, it is being regulated by RBI, Financial Data Sharing System. If we SEBI wants the access, they need to take permission from RBI, obviously, and regulated the NBFC, the facilitate the collection of financial information pertaining to customers from the financial information provider. Suppose if I am making investment in any security, if I am making investment in mutual fund, wherever it is, I want the data. Like if I am a supervisor, I am playing the supervisory role, or SEBI, if I am, then I would require data. I just want to take care of your status. I want to know your credibility. Wherever you are making your amount indulge, you want to purchase any investment, I just want to check upon your ratio. From where did you take out this? So I want to check upon the information. If I just want to check upon the information, from where I can just acquire it? From the RBI. But RBI doesn't allow you till the time it is not required, it is not getting the permission or consent of customers. Obviously, this would be considered as the confidential part of customers. So customers would say yes to RBI, thus that information could be shared with SEBI, because I just want to take investment in that perspectives. So this is what is helping or happening between the RBI and SEBI, and it is making the linkage due to the customers. This is like check, and this require permission of whom? Customers consent just to give the access of the information to the SEBI. Or SEBI, why does SEBI require the sharing of information? Just to prevent the check like defaults, which can be possible or possibility in case of customers. So next is all about rule of origin you are talking about. In case of these, you need to know about the FTA and countries, with which country you have good level of connections. You need to know about it. So guys, this topic is very important. Why this is important with respect to FTA? Like free trade agreement we do talk about. Yesterday we were talking about CEPA. Okay, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and CECA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement with Malaysia. In case of Comprehensive Economic Partnership, you need to recall the words UAE, South Korea, and the Japan. These kind of like picture or country should come in your mind. It could be asked directly in case of prelims. In order to know about the meanings of free trade agreements, if you are getting more getting more provisions of liberal aspects, you need to know about these things. Like criteria needed to determine the national sources. What we are talking about over here is, this is deriving the fact that if we are restricting any country, suppose if we are restricting any country, you can just name it once, China. This is under the restrictive reason. Under the restrictive region means we are going to impose tariff on their products. So in order to just supply its product, what China will do? Like if India is not taking huge returns or huge tariff from UAE, it is having free trade pact. It is having free trade pact due to due to CEPA. So if they are having the free pact in this, you just need to know about that. If India is giving leverage or if India is giving access to UAE, what China would do in that circumstance is that China can sell out their products to UAE. Okay, China can sell out their products to UAE and UAE could use their products by made in UAE, because UAE is just taking advantage out of the situation and China is also taking the advantage out of the situation. What China can earn out of it, it can prevent from paying tariff on Indian territory. It has to just catch upon the via route that is going through UAE. Getting my point? If China has to just sell the solar panels, suppose. First of all, initially, China is going to, like if UAE would require only 10 panels, China is going to sell 10 plus 10. 10 is for India. You just have to name it by made in UAE so that it can prevent the Chinese product from like tariff which has to be imposed if China is directly sending to India. Getting my point? So this kind of things, rule of origin is coming into the picture. That rule of origin is what criteria needed to determine the national source of product. Like if I'm producing the solar panel or if I'm using the resources to the limit that I need to make the insurity about it, that rule of origin, if I'm producing, taxes has to be imposed on that basis.
एक घंटे की क्लास थी ना?
नहीं, 12 to 3.
मैम आपने तो बताया 12 से 3. 12 से 1 ही तो होती है आपकी टीम. चलो अब आप ले रहे हो लो.
So UAE was imported in India. Okay, UAE originated from UAE was imported into India. It may invite zero or concessional import duties. What we are talking about here is importer cannot import goods from China just because things has to be liable or tariff has to be acquired on that basis. So, if it is possible to levy the duties on Chinese good which is coming from, Chinese product which is coming from UAE, I am just giving the example, coming from UAE, India could have accumulated 35% of valuation addition in case of Chinese product. But such kind of decorum is disrupting the thing. Gene modification in rice. Rice variety by up to 40%. We are talking about that grain yield shorten the growth duration of rice. The study we are talking about the second copy of single gene in order to prevent our production, in order to prevent our cropping pattern. What we are doing here is we just want to make our growth secure, make our growth of the production secure in order to just protect it from the deficiencies. We are just making the modulation in gene, temporary altering the gene so that it is not going to disrupt our production pattern. It is not going to disrupt our growth pattern. Getting my point? So modification in rice we do talk about. BT cotton I have already talked about. This is the cropping pattern we are using, like modification we do make utilization of, and out of this hybrid we are just making the advantage in the production part. It is beneficial for the production pattern. No regulation on gene modification, exempted crop with certain kind of genetic modification from regulation. imposed on commercialization. Okay, so this kind of modification is required for the green revolution. So rice export, this is, we are on number 2 in terms of production case, and we are approximately selling or exporting the rice on the number 1 position in the entire world. We are selling over to more than 150 countries, and this is the decorum. This is the temperature decorum we are making establishment on. If you do talk about with respect to temperature, if you do talk about with respect to rainfall, 150 to 300 you would require. Soil type, what kind of soil would be required in that case? Top rice producing state, you should be aware of West Bengal, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra and Bihar. Then you have to just look for the production, like on what scale you are making production in the international level. These are the top countries which are producing the rice on the huge scale. That is Brazil, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines and China. China is on number 1, number 2 position India would be. And on number 1st position in case of export, India is. And it is selling or exporting to the countries over 150 countries. It is selling to over 150 countries. Here we are talking about OpenSea tail on the future of. Future of, what do we talk about here is NFT, cryptocurrency, blockchain. We are just taking up the share. Like if one cryptocurrency is there, suppose if one cryptocurrency is there, this can be divided into various segments. It can be part up to 5, 10, 50. It has to be determined in segments. Or segments would be valued on equal basis. On equal basis, on the standardized formation, standardized portions, it can sell upon. Okay. And blockchain is the criteria where data has to be secured. Blockchain is the technology, like data has to be decentralized in nature and has to be secured. Like it is the data collection mechanism, mostly commonly traded NFTs. And here what we are talking about OpenSea is for NFTs. What are NFTs? Like if we are everything from the drawings, videos, audio, whatever you look upon, there is a kind of patents and copyrights on which is associated with paintings, videos, audios you get to see in that platform. So you can turn it into the NFTs. Okay, in-game items, you can sell up those portions the way you are just selling the cryptocurrency. The difference which we can make over here is the way you are using the cryptocurrency, it has to be divided into same segments on the same scale. But this is not so in case of NFTs. Otherwise, these criteria are same which is there in the cryptocurrency. You can just make a trade online on the basis of photos, videos, GIFs, musics which you are making. You can make money out of it. What kind of difference you get to see over here is once you are taking entry in the trading pattern, whether it be from cryptocurrency, whether it be from any tradable material, wherever you are getting the access of trade, or you are making entry only for once, you would be coming into the category of Ethereum blockchain data. OpenSea was used over here because 2 million traders transacted at least one on the network. Or from here itself, you can just take the outlay of the data. You are known about the fact data is considered as a fuel for economy nowadays. If you are making trade, you are using the data, you are taking the help of economic activities, you just want to know about the preferences of investors, you just need to access the data. If you have purchased such and such product for once, you might project or you might purchase that product just after 3 to 6 months after. Okay, they are taking the glance of your taste and preferences. Accordingly, they are sending you the items or the product basis so that you can just purchase that criteria. So this is why we are just signifying or we are just allocating this word as OpenSea was building on the blockchain to trade the NFC. What we are talking talking about here is treat the NFTs. NFTs is nothing but it is the GIFs and the audio, video, you are making trade, pictures, and you are just, it is the tradable instrument the way you are making the trade in case of cryptocurrency, but it can be like a measure in the standardized units. How is NFT different from cryptocurrency? You just need to know. This is fungible in nature, it is interchangeable. This is fungible in nature. What do you mean by it? Non-fungible, the value of one NFT is not equal. The measure, like as we are saying that 1 rupee means 100 paisa. We can just make a division on equal basis. It would be validate for 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 100 rupees. It can be divided into unit basis, but NFT cannot do such, because things which are tradable in nature, which are pictures, audios, videos, every tradable instrument or exchange medium has to vary with the quality you are making trade in. Obviously, different video have different value, different pictures have different value, GIFs, pictures, everywhere you would get to see different units. This is why the cryptocurrency is fungible in nature. It can be easily interchangeable. But this is not so in case of NFT. But once you are taking entry into the transaction platform, you would get making yourself involved in the blockchain, and you can just term yourself as the OpenSea. Okay. Next is all about RBI Digital Lending. RBI, we have studied in the last week about the digital lending platform. What you need to know about this digital lending platform, that whenever we do talk about the word digital and then the lending, digital is all about accessing, to make the things reachable, to make the things reachable to the large extent. Okay, lending is all about to avail the funding for economic activity. And if the things are digital in criteria, your foremost aim would be to have the access of that thing only when things would be easy. Easiness is the decorum wherein you have to take agreement or you have to make the entry. Then you would think after making the entry in that platform that whether that thing is secure or not. Once for a while, if you are using any app related to money sources, Phone Pay, Google Pay, you might have used it for the first time in the very first glance when you have used these sources. Nowadays, it is like common thing for all. But whenever you go to the extent of a grassroots level, whenever you are looking at the position, even today, we can know about the areas which are unbanked in nature. We are trying to give accessibility of these services over there. It is not always that if they are belonging to the unbanked area, they do not have amount to spend. Yes, they do have. But they are not at all aware about the services. If they are using these kind of transactions, if they are using these kind of digital services, digital financial services, we need to make them understand that this is so easy and you can have the access, because we are not in that situation to avail the physical structure or physical environment or physical infrastructure for banking transformation. We can at least avail the financial services through the medium of digital happenings. Okay, so they have to check it once that is it easy to learn. If this is so, it could become easily available to them. It could become easily accessible to them. Then second, fear in their case, that if I'm using this app, is it safe enough or secure to use it? If this is so, then you need to make the redressal mechanism. You just need to upgrade the accountability. If you are making the accountability in that part, then you can just talk about the accessibility reason, because this person is going to suggest to another person that I'm using since long. You can just have a look at this app. This is so easy to learn, and you can just get it heard. If you are having any complaint or query related to this operation, then you can get it heard by the redressal mechanism. And if it is being heard clearly, then you are establishing a kind of credibility in the eye of people, which is definitely going to raise your status, and not only raising the status in public aura, but also increasing the access. You are just expanding the base of your customers. And if you are expanding the base for your customers, definitely it is going to make addition in the economic activities. Or you are making the growth financial inclusive in nature. Or you are making the growth financial inclusive in nature. I have already many a times I have talked about one point. If you are talking about the inclusivity, if I do talk about inclusivity, it is one of the most important point or ingredient you can make establishment of in the process of development. In the process of development, this is the foremost and very, very prominent term in case of development. And for that reason being, you need to look upon 4 parameters. First is all about empowerment. Empower, which comes from the financial resources. Financial resources. If you want the access of, this is where we are working on. This is where we are working on. Means we are on the verge, or we are in the process of development. We are making creation. It would be easy to understand. If you are capable enough, you need to have the capacity and the help, potential you can make upgradation in. Fourth is all about the financial resources. If you do talk about, you need to make the spread awareness. Awareness is all about education. Awareness is all about education. Okay. So this is where we are working on inclusivity and the digital platform. We just want to make the access toward the region which is unreachable in access, where we cannot make establishment of physical infrastructure. We can make our labor works to make establishment of the softwares and services being available on the platform, where services you would not get to see in case of physical infrastructure cases. Many a time physical barriers also be there in existence. So what this is all about, I have already given a glance in a very summarized point of view. Now I'm just going to let you know about the Reserve Bank of India has issued detailed guidelines. Detailed guidelines, as we are like on the verge that we are starting the services for the first time. Second is all about there would be no disruptions or the interference by the third party. It is directly connection or the direct interaction with the first hand party. Okay, like we are just dealing with the software, right? That softwares allow us to take loan, and if we are taking that loan service, it would be between us and that service provider. There is no interference of the third party. So first set of guidelines for digital lending to crack down on illegal activity by certain players. Whosoever is playing the role in mediation, there is mitigation in that process. Next, these kind of recommendation has to be prepared by any committee, that working group on the digital media, because it is happening for the first time. If things has to be taken for the first time, so it has to be reviewed for number of times, obviously. So lending through the web platform or the mobile apps, it is giving the expansion on the services, expansion in the services. Why it is so? Because the mobiles penetration is going up. And 2/3 of the people are using the mobile which are Android in nature smartphones. So they can have access of the smart mechanism or the services. They can take the advantages out of this digital media which is available in nature. Obviously. So what we are trying to look upon the advantages. It's just like widen up the era, widening up the scope for the people to reach out to the every corner, every side of the states or the country. Okay, it is enlarging the side of their reach. Banks have launched their own independent. Every bank have their own app. You can just make access out of which, and whatever service you want to take the helping out, you just want to take the help, you can get the access out of it. This is what we are just talking about. Significance is all about financial inclusion, meeting the huge unmet credit need, particularly in micro enterprises, low income consumer segment in India. Reduce the borrowing from informal channel. This is our foremost criteria. In time saving, it would be obviously you are just making connection of yourself with a like app. It is time saving. Next is all about reducing the borrowing from the informal sector. Informal mechanism. What do you mean by informal? Helping reducing the informal borrowing, so that you can just get dependent on the formal media. If you are using the bank app, obviously you are going to get registered in the banking system, or banking system is totally formal in nature. So excessive rate of interest in whatever kind of digital platform which are unauthorized in nature, if you are getting any kind of drawbacks and losses out of the regime, even they are imposing huge cost out of the domain. So in order to prevent such kind of decorum that they are taking huge rent, like rate of interest on the money they are availing to you, there are various applications which are unauthorized in nature, but they are also taking utilization of those apps in order to make authentic app by linking up them with the banks, so that people could prevent themselves out of the situation. The way they are just taking the help of huge cost and all. Unacceptable and high-handed recovery and misuse agreement to access the data. These are the things. Who comes under these new guidelines? Entities and regulated by RBI, permitted under law, divided the universe of digital lender into 3 groups. So entity regulated by RBI, lending businesses, and many a times we have to look at, if they are not coming under the RBI, it might be indulged with the state agency. So they need to take the approval, they need to get the registration format, they are for proper norms and decorums guidelines you need to follow whenever you are taking the services. Obviously, if I am taking loan from you, you are going to make check and balance on me. You should have certain terminologies on the basis of which I can just obey them and can take the access of land. Obviously, I am giving money, or you are giving money to me, you are going to check upon me. In the same way, these organizations are making check and balances on me. So focus on the digital lending ecosystem of regulatory entity and lending service provider, engaged by them to extend the permissible credit facilitation services. Category do not come under new guideline. Formulating the appropriate rule regulation based on the recommendation of working group. So guideline is all about like exclusion. What are the guidelines? Third party inclusion, fee charges you get to see, which are so cheaper. Next is all about loan disclosure, key fact statement you get to see in a very like things, if the things are digitalized in form. You need to know about it if we want to know about the access. If we want to expand the base for the access, you need to have the standardized norm. One norm for everybody. Okay? There should be a decorum and format which has to be followed by all. If everybody is making if everybody is following those norms, standardized formats you are following, it would be possible in case of digitalization. Digitalization means It is expanding the base for participation of people. They need to follow certain codes. Or if they are given certain codes, it has to be prepared. If they are given certain codes, they have to be prepared by the authentic organization. Credit limit, publishment of a list, there cannot be automatic increase in credit limits. Okay, they need to take the approval out of the segment. Next is Gravian's redressal mechanism. The way I have already told you about, if you are taking access of any digital, it is not only limited to the digital lending, but it is about the digital services you are taking help of. You need to know about the safe and secure side of that. Even if you are taking entry, or if you have taken the entry into the mechanism, or even after the entry, if you are facing any query or any problem after taking the entry, you need to know about the proceedings, what is to be done, and whether it is in nature of getting redressed. If this is so, you have to go by the redress mechanism. Your query would be sorted. If this would happen, then again you are just increasing your credibility towards the authentic organization. This is showing the good accountable nature of the authorized organization. So integrated ombudsman scheme you have seen of the RBI, if their grievances were not resolved by the bank within the 30 days. So on which basis, if we do talk about the ombudsman, it is divided into three sectors. It is insurance, income and banking. These are the financial services holder only, insurance, income and banking. These are the ombudsman. Integrated ombudsman we do talk about works in these three segments. It could be asked in prelim in the by giving the fourth point as well, which is not the part of ombudsman in this way, or you just have to name them 1 2 3 2 3 in these ways it could be asked. So integrated ombudsman is very important, or it is just expanded the base for the jurisdiction, as it is considered nowadays in the form of one nation, one ombudsman, just to redress the queries by the customers, not only for the banking services or the security basis, or if you are making the investment, you would be secured enough. Integrated mechanism has started Ombudsman scheme of 2018, scheme of digital transaction of 2019. Anyhow, you have to just limit the jurisdiction. You were limited to the jurisdiction earlier. After getting it digitalized in format, you have expanded the base. Next is all about digital lender should proactively develop, commit to the code of conduct, outline the principle of integrity, transparency. Obviously, if the things are digital in nature, service would remain same. If the standard procedure is there, it has to be transparent in nature. One for all. It would be same for everybody. And consumer protection would come from when things are redressed. You are just increasing the accountability on that basis. Next is about the cyber threat related to the mobile banking. It is not at all limited to the Androids now. It has expanded the base towards the iOS devices in Asia Pacific. And what is the name of that? If we do talk about the global cyber security, increasing the cyber attacks, and what you can just look upon the problem, that 26% of Indian adults have digital bank accounts, or we are expecting to increase it by to reach it by 46%, to increase it to the level of 46% in 2027. So according to 2022, according to 2020, two-thirds of the population, I have already mentioned this, they people who possess these smartphones in their hand. Next, basics is all about why we are just talking about this issue about the cyber attacks, which is always be in a limelight form. Trojan, you have to take example of Trojan relates to what you can be asked. Dangerous malware. This is the malicious practices has to be accommodated by the criminal whosoever is doing the duty or hacking. Disguising the malicious application as legitimate app, you would be shown this app, which is going to be same as you use. Nothing variation would be there. If you are using the app in the name of WhatsApp and you are putting the confidential details in that app, so this malicious or malware could steal this information out of the app available in the app. Okay, and it would be like it would be similar just as the app you use. Trojan is malicious code or the software that look legitimate. It seems like this is the legitimate mandatory things, or it is the secure basis for us. But anyhow, unfortunately, this device looking like the authentic one, but it is stealing the information. An example of threat you can see over there: Anabis, roaming monkeys, and Beyond Leon malware. These are the things: lack of adequacy, cyber security, like technology. If we do talk about any kind of malicious data, if we do talk about these cyber attacks come into the picture just because of lack of technology. We are not working on that sequence the way hackers are taking the pace. Obviously, these are the hackers. They are catching up on the pace in stealing the information, which is not at all equal to the pace of our cyber security. So cyber security has to upgrade somewhere in terms of their technology, engineering, data, security, experts, so that customers or the clients would not feel insecure to use the digital media. The way we are making enhancement in the digital technology, digital databases, digital lending services, every platform we want to get it equipped with the help of digitalization, because it is not that easy to make the establishment with the physical infrastructure. It is not that easy. If we are establishing the virtual image just by providing the access on the basis of phone available with them, it is going to be the cost effective. But for that reason, we need to make people secure. If we have to make people secure, these kind of cyber attack can hamper that growth. Again, it could left the economy in the inaccessible reason, which is not reaching to the grassroots level. Okay. So China, India, these are giving the information. The way we just want to extend the base for the information to the other country, which could become a trouble for the economy. And digital hygiene practices like keeping the phone up to date, keep rebooting your phone regularly. iOS 16 user, lockdown mode, it would restrict the functionality so that you can make yourself preventive to like you can just protect yourself from an potential malware. Such kind of question could be asked in PYQs. like previous year question paper, this is from, and such kind of question could be given. That term Trojan would associated with exoplant, cryptocurrency, cyber attack, mini satellite. So in the same way, WannaCry, Petya, Eternal Blue is associated with what? Exoplanet, cryptocurrency, cyber attacks, and mini satellites. As we are talking about the cyber attacks, this is the cyber attack. Next, whatever cyber attacks and malware practices and malicious practices we are talking about, it is legally mandatory for which following to protect on cyber security incidents. This is due to service provider, data centers, and body corporate. Select the correct answer using the code. What are all are included? Legal mandation are for to prepare the cyber security incident. This is relevant to what? Service provider, whosoever is providing the services, the organization one, data center, who is collecting the data, and body corporates, heading corporates, institutions you are talking about. Obviously, it is making impact on all three. Okay, level of cyber security, it is the data device. You are using the device, in which data device you are using, transmission mechanism, data you are collecting under this format, and server level where this is going to. Okay, this is the medium device level. What kind of device level it is? The way I was talking about the cyber attacks has been extended extended to the iOS level. Okay, this is not only limited to the Androids one, who used to say that I have a iOS mechanism, I am under security, but this is not so. It is already expanded the base. So level of device do matter. And where the things are getting collected, it is the transit level, and where it is getting collected, this is under the processing. So these three factors are affecting the cyber security incident. 1, 2, 3 would be the answer. So UPI payment charges, this is very important topic. If you do talk about the UPI, I just want to tell you, this is the mechanism which has gone universal. First of all, everybody, you might have seen that they are using the UPI. Number two, it is not only limited to few people. It has been extended to the every segment. I am not talking about 100% people is using it. But I am just saying 100% not, but the 67 to 70 people, 70% of the people might have used this. Just because of the easy and secure access. They have the proper mechanism and accountability you will get to see. The time you have seen the accountability in nature, the way if you are making investment, things are so easy. First of all, your main concern about the investment is just to check on, is it easy to make it? If this is so, you will take an entry. If you are facing any trouble, you just want any mechanism so that you can make complaint. If your complaint is getting heard or redressed, then you would look upon, yeah, this is very authentic institution. We will keep on working on this platform. This is establishing a kind of credibility. The same way UPI is very accessible in nature. This has become accessible in nature. Means it has widened the participation of more and more people just because of the characteristics. What are the characteristics over here is given on that basis. That is inaccessible you are making the establishment of. Accessibility comes from what? Accessibility comes from what? When the things are easier, when the things are secure. And direction, UPI is important or a topic. Know about it. What we are talking about here is, we are just, RBI is asking to charge from customers and the seller who is accepting the payment and who is making the payment. We have to just make the charges on both the person so that we can bear the cost of infrastructure. We get the cost of. Okay. From the time being, since this UPI has making the start of, we are charging zero framework on that basis. Okay. What we are talking about here is retail payment. whatsoever, like UPI is meant for increasing. UPI is what? Trying to expand the base of participation. We want to make it more and more accessible by easiness and security. If you are making it more secure, it is good. But you would get shocked to know that whatever cost, there might be cost of providing the infrastructure to the people, and even to the people, which is such a huge on basis. Okay, number of people are such a huge on basis. So, who is bearing the cost? Who is bearing that cost? That is the major concern by the RBI. That if you will continue to bear the cost, it is loosening the burden on the customers, on the sellers, or it is making the process cumbersome. It is becoming so problematic for the banking affairs to move into the advanced level. Obviously, they would require more and more funding for that. If you are not giving that funding or charges on of the services, they will not continue to serve you. It is not going to be sustainable on basis. This is what RBI's concern is. So the charges which has to be taken or the charged on retail payment services, that is MDR, merchant discount rate. This is nil in case of UPI. What we actually charge from the debit card. Okay. So government's major concern, there is no need to charge from public, but RBI's views, if you have to make the service sustainable, if you have to make it more advanced so that you can just spread your base towards the international level, if you want it secure more and more, the way we are already known about the fact, the way cyber attacks are increasing the base, we need to make it more secure. We would require more technology. If you want more technology, you would require more fund. So from where did you get fund? From where would you get fund? So till so far, who is helping us out? That is government who is providing the funding. And in this year, in the current year budget 2022 and 3, 1500 crore towards this perspective, it has been allocated. But if we are making the charges on customers, it can loosen this burden on government and it can make the growth sustainable. They can push themselves towards making the advancement in the technology so that it could become more secure and it could become more sustainable on basis. Okay, so benefit of the charges, UPI, even if you are giving such a small amount on it, it would become more sustainable. Okay. So merit would be, it will discourage the booming of UPI transaction by citizens. If you are asking people to pay, the way I have mentioned this in the lecture, that it is being extended to such a large population. You know why? Because you are providing the services that is for free. Nobody is getting afraid of using UPI just because you are not paying anything. You are not paying any charges on the payments. This is the reason you are making it more accessible. And this is what our major concern is. So next is about dampen the digital ecosystem. The foremost criteria is to become more and more accessible and to reach out the facility to the unbanked area. You would only reach when you are providing the services for free. But now here itself you are making it limited in the periphery. If you are making it limited for the periphery, your ecosystem is getting depleted. Your ecosystem is getting depleted. If you are paying UPI charges and if you are paying MDR, which is imposed on seller side, it is restricting the accessibility if it is being restricted the accessibility, our foremost aim or our initial aim before starting up the UPI, that is going in the worth. So what is UPI? You just talk about it. It works under the mechanism of National Payment Corporation of India, and it is associated with these system and the centralized platform. Obviously, it is centralized platform, and at times centralized platforms are very important because standards and norms would be similar for everybody. If these are similar, things are getting simpler. If things are getting simpler, it would become more accessible. On the side of the formal preview, these are all good. Okay, these are all good on the side of these preview, on the side of standardization. This is all set. So next question, such kind of question could be formed in the statement based. Which of the following is most likely consequences of implementing the UPI? First is all about mobile wallet will not be necessary for online payments. Mobile wallet is not necessary in case of online payment. Mark this because this is related to this service only. Digital currency will totally replace physical currency in about 2 decades. This is not at all relevant to the digital currency. FDI inflow will drastically increase. No, not at all related to this. Direct transfer of subsidies to poor people will become very effective. So this is not all relevant to this topic. If you continue to have a look towards the daily news analysis, what you can get is the clear glance related to the subject. You would not ever feel like that this is such an uncomfortable zone for the subject basis. So first is the mobile wallet will not be necessary for online payment. Mobile wallet will not be necessary for online payment. Why is it so? Allow the direct payment from the bank to the merchant account. You might have seen at times then whenever you have to pay the amount to the seller or the merchant, you might have seen about the glance that it will getting directly transferred to the merchant account from the bank account. There is no intermediation in the process. Next is about Jan Dhan Yojana. You can also just make the relation like Jan Dhan Yojana. You can just also make the association of this with the public bank. And who is holding the banking like Jan Dhan Yojana? It is making affiliation or 67% of the public is making relevance to this segment. Public sector, if we do talk about, it is making association with the accessibility, wants to make more and more participation from the public segment. Okay, public segment, public sector banks are only going to make concerns related to the welfare and inclusivity principles because their main perspective is to increase the welfare, not to earn the profit. Okay, so this is you can just make the point of view related to the financial inclusion. Financial penetration is going up time to time, as you might have heard about that mobile penetration has gone up and digital services has to go up along with that, as we are providing very safe and secure apps along with that. And the women empowerment, 56% women's account holders are women. Obviously, they are getting empowered. Empowerment comes from the financial resources you are holding right now, and you just need to make a spread. If you are literate enough, then you have to build the capacity, whether you are healthy enough or not, to make the things. Okay, so increase the DBT, scholarships and subsidies, pension, these all are going to get credited in the Jan Dhan Yojana, and they have seen the excess of it. Next is about Jan Dhan Yojana, launched in 2014 to ensure the access of financial services, and the objective to ensure the access of financial products. If you do talk about the financial products and services at affordable cost, that is banking, saving, deposit, and the remittances, use of technology, whatever technology you are using, that is at cheap access. Okay, Jan Dhan Yojana. is all about the public sector bank. You can just talk about, and the foremost motive is just to serve the every unbanked adults, because everywhere it is very difficult to establish that physical infrastructure, but you can make them available the services on the basis of digital platform. So banking the unbanked, securing the unserved, the more accessibility you are giving through the programs, and you are making the direct benefit transfer to the Jandhan account, you are making the people empowered on the basis of providing the financial resources to them. Okay. So this is all about giving the more access. This is getting more access, more participation, literacy, for awareness spread, or the creation of credit guarantee fund, then the insurance for the security. 5G network infrastructure is already in limelight, and this is about the Awas Yojana. You might have heard about it, that 13 lakh more houses under the Awas Yojana. We are talking about the UP, and 90 days unskilled labor from MG Narega. Beneficiary who is getting the employment under the MG Narega. MG Narega is making association of this plan, means Awas Yojana, wheresoever it is providing the like Awas provisions. This Awas is not only relevant to the houses, various other amenities are also associated with this program. Number two, it is also making the provision for the employments in under the scheme. This is only not the scheme just to provide the livelihood and amenities to get the survival basis, but this is also making relevance with the employment, and it is just to avail the loan of 70,000 to the beneficiaries, and it is somewhere relevant to the economic and the caste census. Caste census 2011 we do talk about. So features of Awas Yojana, it is we have increased the size, minimum size from 20 to 25, and this is related to the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, okay, mission Gramin, and this is relevant to the connection proper infrastructure which is required for the basic necessity, and this is all about the basic necessity which we would require along with the Pakka house. Okay, these are the four features on which basis these work, Awas Yojana works. You have to just correlate it by the MG Narega, and you have to also correlate it with the employment opportunity and the way loan is being provided, and what are the basis we are providing the loan facility to them. Okay, design-led incentives. This is all about the like a PLI, production incentive schemes. If you are performing so good, if you are making expansion in the production part, you would be availed more like a production based incentive. You would be given concessional amount on that basis. 1% additional incentive would be given. Okay, as in PLI. Okay, 4 to 6% sales if you are making, you would be getting more and more advantages out of the scenario. Yesterday we have talked about the UAE export. It has been expanded by 42% in case of UAE. Okay, it has been extended by 42%. Number two, what all is required from the point of view of prelim and mains? You need to know about the comprehensive agreement in case of mains, and if you are looking at the like prelim, you need to know about the trade agreements. Trade agreements, what kind of trade agreements you do have with other countries. Number two, different form of trade agreements, different form with like which countries and what kind of agreements are there. Two specific reasons you need to know. The way why this is all in news, you might have heard about the G7 meeting in which India was invited as guest. India is not the member of G7 countries, but it was like India was invited. India was invited in that way. So this is all about why this is in news. First of all, 42%. Like 42% there was hike in export. If 42% we are exporting more jewelries, it is a kind of earning for India. And you have to look at the background, what kind of background we are having at this point of time. First of all, India's situation we need to look at. India's situation. This is not that important news, but this point of view is very important. India's situation, India's economic situation right now, it is making association with that import bill is on peak. Is on peak. Okay. Why is it so? First position, if you do talk about first position in terms of import, that is of crude, we are already known about this fact. Okay? It is all about crude, and its supply is going low, prices are going up, and we have already, like somewhere, we are getting restricted the level of our alternatives. Just because of the crisis occurring in case of Ukraine and Russia, we have made ourselves restricted towards the other energy sources. So making our inclination towards what? Crude. Okay? Decline in alternatives. These are the reason due to which prices are going up. This is the background. So if the prices are going up, import bill has to be counted, has to be determined or measured on the basis of this principle. Even if we are making import of same unit, like earlier we used to take 20 units of crude, like 20 liters of crude, and now itself we are taking the 20 units. Because our demand is inelastic. We do not have any other alternative but to use this energy source. Okay. We are not making any kind of increase. We are not making any kind of decrease under this periphery. But our continuous increment in prices is going up. Or that is making our payments, like we are required to pay them for the services available to us, right? If we are taking resources, we have to pay for that. Payments are going up. Okay, means import bills are going up. So what if India would come in a situation they would not have money to make repayments? So in order to prevent, in order to be on safer side on behalf of India, I am talking about. In order to prevent from that kind of situation, what India had done? India has signed the CEPA in May 2021. What is CEPA? Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. What this is all about? It has just signed it in the May 2000, like coming into the effect. It was the last year programming we are talking about, and in effect 2022. Okay, we were under the talk that time and benefited from the jewelry export. If we are increasing, like we are making the free trade pacts with this country, we are making the privilege to these countries so that they can make the investment. Obviously, if they are making investment in our country, they have to make payment, or it is getting balanced with the payment we are required to make for the crude. Or if they are just increasing this export, our production, it is favorable for us, or we are receiving earning as well, or it is again getting balanced with the crude oil. So such kind of parameters India has accommodated so that they will not require to have the foreign exchange. There might be shortcomings out of this reason, no? So they are just in the preventary state, duty-free access on the jewelry. So India got zero duty and attracting the 5% duty earlier. If you are making if you are part of such kind of partnership agreements, you can just imagine that India in turn allow 1% duty concession. The 1% duty concession, what do you mean by it? If you are part of comprehensive economic partnership agreement, you would be given concession that as you have signed the agreement, you would get privilege of signing it. Okay, so I have already told the reason behind it and what kind of benefits you are getting out of the firm. What kind of benefits you are getting out of the firm? That is the trade in goods. If you are making trade in goods, India is so good in many of the agrarian goods and the services available in our country. They can take the advantages out of it. If we are talking about the services, we are considered as the software hub in the entire economy. They can take the advantage out of it. Educational services, environmental services, whatever recreational, we are so good in tourism, they would get the better access in those parameters. Next is all about pharmaceutical industry. Both sides have also agreed to separate annex. Like pharmaceutical industry, we are also playing the leading role in that domain. Pharmaceutical, again the automobiles industry, we are performing so good at it, and we are expecting to reach at a third position by 2030. So these are the specified area, and we need to be very much specific, and that specifics are going to take us toward the specialization, and they can take the advantage out of that specialization. Okay, because specialization is always meant for the optimality. So CEPA, it's a kind of free trade act, cover the negotiation in services, investment, and it is making the betterments for both the countries. Both are getting benefits out of the trade segments, out of the agreements. Or we have signed such kind of agreements with the South Korea and Japan. In the very starting of the lecture, I might have also mentioned it, that even consider the negotiation in areas such as trade facilitation, even if you are making the competition out of the segment, making the cooperation, anyways, these are going to be beneficial. Okay, it is not undermining anybody's interest. If you require crude oil, you can send it. If we are good at other services, we are going to send it. You are taking leverage of specialization from each other. Free trade agreement. Other type of free trade agreements, you can look at the ASEAN, and you can just look at the RCEP, ASEAN plus 6 member. Now 1 member has come out, and China also the member, South Korea also the member, India used to be the member, New Zealand, Australia. These are the 6 members which are beyond the ASEAN, like out of the ASEANs. And preferential trade agreements, if I have given any kind of preferential basis to you, I am giving preference to you, you have to also give preference to the products which you are supplying to me, as I have given preference to you. Okay, so preferential state should be given, like reducing the duties in following segments, or India signed that in case of Afghanistan. So comprehensive economic cooperation, this is different from the partnership. It is under the cooperation. This was for the partnership. Partnership is sharing. Cooperation is what? You need to coordinate. Both are different terms. It has been signed with the Malaysia bilateral investment treaty. Again, this is the agreement. Conditions for the private investments by the citizens, if they want to take the things together, they need to sign such kind of agreements. They need to go by the agreements or the formalities. Trade and investment framework agreements. Trade pact between 2 or more countries establishes framework for expanding the trade, resolving the outstanding disputes. So what kind of question could be raised out of these topics? You need to know about it. like it has been asked that RCEP in the news in context of affair, group of countries known as 2016, it was asked in. Next, G20, ASEAN, SCO, and the SARC. ASEAN is the part of ASEAN plus 6 members you will get to see. These are the like members you might have seen. And what level of population indulged under this? 3.4 billion. And 40% of the global trade is the part of under this. And good level of GDP is the part of. These all are the members you get to see in the RCEP. 16 member used to be there. It used to be there. But now it's declined to 15. Because India is no more the member of RCEP. If you want to know the reason, like one of the reason, we were in deficit at the time of walking out. Okay, we were in deficit with all the countries. In order to make the stability on the Atmanirbhar Bharat is to make the attraction, or it is just to promote the interest of the domestic producer. You can just talk about. So Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, in order to encourage the Atmanirbhar Bharat, or you were already in a deficit, you were not that competitive enough in order to just raise the surplus out of the domain. So it seems like it was a kind of distressing mechanism. We are not in that stage to be the part of RCEP. But any day, in order to expand our base, we need to deal in the mechanism where we are in abundance and where we are just making the competitive base. So these all are the members, and beyond the ASEAN, you get to see what all countries: Australia, China, Japan, India, and New Zealand, South Korea. These all are the members. India has already come out. So guys, do not forget to download the Exampur app. These were the current updates I have made you clear in the last week I was talking about. So every Sunday I am going to just revise the current updates and the economic affairs, what we have done in a week. So do not forget to attend the lecture which do take place between Monday to Saturday from 9 to 10 economic static part, and 12 to 1 is for DNA, daily news analysis. So do not forget to attend the classes during this time period, and if you have any doubt you can just put in the comment box. Thank you so much. Have a great day to all of you.